I've met a couple times her ex-husband. I'm sure
Meghan's?
Yes, I met him like personally. We met in the lobby of the Soho House in Chicago and just sort of like flirted and then started talking and then met once in LA. Very briefly, we talked about doing a project. He said his ex was a woman from a show called Suits. I didn't know what the show was. I didn't know the woman. Months later, I see pictures in Us Weekly of Harry's dating someone, and I text him to be like, is this your ex? And he's like, yup. And I'm like, I go, you think she's going to close? And he's like, oh, she'll close. And I don't want to get into more about that, but he was like, she'll close. So I thought she was wonderful. It was so great for the monarchy. I liked the message, all the things. When they left, I was really more just talking about like their decisions. It just seemed like had they been managed properly, it would have been such a different outcome.
Hello, my loves. It's Mona from the Unroyals. And today, buckle in, because Bethenny Frankel has once again opened her mouth and delivered a story so sharp, so revealing, and so unintentionally shady that it practically waltzed straight into my content calendar. So get cozy, sip your tea, and let's unravel this perfectly tangled thread of Meghan, Harry, Trevor, and a whole lot of calculated timing. And before we dive headfirst into this cauldron of royal chaos, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss the next cup I spill. All right, let's begin. Bethenny starts her tale with the casual confidence of a woman who's about to drop a truth bomb without even blinking. She explains she's met Meghan Markle's ex-husband, Trevor Engelson, a couple of times. And like all stories involving Hollywood characters, this one does not begin in a normal place like a supermarket or a quiet cafe. No. It begins in the Soho House in Chicago. Because of course it does. That's where these people collect themselves, in lounges dripping with dim lighting, overpriced cocktails, and the faint smell of ambition. Bethenny says she and Trevor flirted a bit. Light, playful, nothing serious. Just that we're both in entertainment and slightly bored kind of flirting. Then later, she meets again briefly in Los Angeles. Hollywood is basically a small town with way better lighting. You run into people whether you want to or not. During these interactions, they even discuss the possibility of working on a project together. And in the middle of this casual conversation, Trevor mentions his ex-wife. He downplays it so much, it almost sounds like he's talking about a distant cousin. He says his ex is a woman from a show called Suits. At this point, Meghan is just some actress with a modest credit on a cable network show. No tiaras on the horizon, no royal titles hanging in the air, just another Hollywood hopeful navigating the maze. Bethenny doesn't know the show. She doesn't know Meghan. She doesn't even blink at the mention. It's all just background noise in the endless hum of the entertainment world. But then the universe decides to spice things up. Months later, Bethenny opens a magazine, Us Weekly, the holy scripture of celebrity revelations, and sees photos of Prince Harry wrapped up in the arms of a new woman, a mysterious woman, a brunette, a woman who looks very familiar. So naturally, she texts Trevor. Is this your ex? And Trevor responds with the most anticlimactic confirmation ever created. Yep. No explanation, no emotion, no dramatic pause. Just yup. The digital equivalent of a shrug. But Bethenny doesn't stop there. No, ma'am. She asks the question that turns the entire story into a psychological X-ray. Do you think she's going to close? Let's pause right there, because that question is not dripping with butterflies and fairy dust. That is not, do you think they'll fall head over heels? That is business language. That is targeted, intentional, strategic language. This is, will she finish the deal? Will she seal the outcome? Will she achieve the goal? This is not romance. This is acquisition. And Trevor, the man who lived in Meghan's orbit for years, doesn't hesitate to answer. He doesn't even take a breath before answering. Oh, she'll close. That response carries weight. It's the kind of certainty that only comes from knowing someone intimately enough to predict their moves. Trevor didn't say, maybe, or let's hope so, or we'll see what happens. He said it like someone remembering a woman who always lands on her feet one way or another. She'll close. Short, sharp, final. Bethenny, in her own seasoned business brain way, recognizes exactly what that means. That wasn't optimism. That was a man stating a fact. And this is the moment the story shifts from gossip into analysis. Because if Trevor believed Meghan was going to lock in that relationship from the start, what does that tell us about the dynamic, about the intention, about the trajectory she was on? Bethenny goes on to explain that she initially thought Meghan was fantastic for the monarchy. She liked her. She liked the energy. She thought Meghan's presence brought a breath of fresh air into an institution that had been breathing the same recycled air for decades. And that was true for many people. Meghan arrived with sparkle and polish. She had a strong voice, a modern touch, and a narrative that resonated with a global audience. But then Bethenny pivots to what she really wants to express. Things didn't fall apart because Meghan and Harry had emotions, or because they faced challenges. Bethenny isn't critiquing the personal struggles. She's critiquing the decisions, the exit, the interviews, the endless press cycles, the constant retelling of grievances, the media narrative shaping, the media wars. She's saying the downfall wasn't inevitable. It was orchestrated by choices. Bethenny insists that with proper management, with someone guiding the strategy, the messaging, the positioning, Meghan and Harry could have been unstoppable. They had the global spotlight, the public goodwill, the interest of millions, and the potential to modernize the monarchy in ways we've never seen. But that potential? It fizzled. The moment Meghan and Harry stepped down, the tone changed. The narrative shifted. The energy cracked. And instead of building bridges, they became the people standing on the shore yelling back at the castle they willingly left. So, Bethenny's hindsight commentary hits hard because she's essentially saying they didn't have to crash. They weren't doomed. They just weren't handled properly. And honestly, that tracks. You can have ambition. You can have influence. You can have charisma. But without direction, that ambition becomes chaos. And that's exactly what we've witnessed. Years of messy headlines, inconsistent messaging, and a brand that can't decide whether it wants sympathy, power, relevance, or revenge. It all circles back to Trevor's comment. She'll close, meaning she's determined, she's persistent, she's driven. But determination without strategy, that's a recipe for disaster. And here we are. So if this deep dive into a royal strategy, Hollywood ambition, and Bethenny Frankel's very sharp memory entertained you, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, leave a comment, and join us for more royal truth-telling with an extra dash of sass. I'm Mona, and this is the Unroyals. And trust me, there's plenty more tea on the way.